All right, we're here, Olympia, Washington, up at the Capitol building. Going up there, we are going to see if the Taking Olympia Back people are still there. But you know, who are we really looking for? Who do we want to talk to? Who do we want to see? That's right, Mr. Jason G. Cox. I would say he's the most talked about person in Olympia right now. One of the most controversial people. And someone that has banned half the city from his little poorly named Facebook group. And poorly named is because, you know, taking Olympia back, that is, it's wrong. It just sounds wrong. It should be taking back Olympia from the cat killer, not taking Olympia back to the Stone Age. I don't know. That's just my little thing. Now, interesting thing here about State Capitol is that there are cameras everywhere. Not only just cameras, but high definition, great zoom in cameras. And I'm sure security is got their cameras focused in, zoomed in, especially if anything's going on. Now, I'm not in the group. My fake account was banned recently as well. So if anyone out there that's watching this live can tell me if they're still there, that would be cool. Or if I'm just doing this all for naught. Because I'm really not, you know, this isn't about Jason Cox. It is, but it isn't. And I'll say straight up right here, I don't think he's the killer. I don't. It's just, I think it's, if I remember correctly, it started around this time last year. He wasn't even in Washington then. So, and plus it just doesn't seem like that. He might be a lot of things, but I don't think he's the dude. But people have said he's never answered that question. Are you the cat killer? So this is my very first YouTube, very first live stream. It says I have a poor connection, but I don't know. So it looks like they're over there. Turn up the brightness. There's a building. See that? So big turnout. There's the flags. Might be somebody coming over here to talk. So, here we go. Hello.
Are you doing a Pokemon thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
Looks like he's right there. See, I really can't. Jason!
Hi,
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, we're live streaming here
Okay.
because I wanted to. We want to catch the cat killer. and you're the #1 guy that's in charge of this, right?
Wonderful. You know me.
I do. Scott McCarty. Nice to
Meet you too,
Nice
sir.
to meet you.
Hey,
How are you doing?
you?
So I got a few people watching and stuff. Is it okay if they ask questions and stuff when it pops up?
Yeah, go for it. Like I've told people, I have no problem in answering any kind of questions that come up to me. The only thing that I've ever really wanted is that people just PM them to me, because when it goes on, like on a group so live, it gets so hyper criticized. You can say 1 + 1 = 2, and somewhere along that will end up being an argument later down in the thread. And that's just what I try to.
But
get
1
around.
+ 1 does equal 2, though.
I know, and that's the point. Is sometimes you can tell people the absolute truth, and somewhere 50 messages down in the thread.
Oh, so it gets all
somewhere along the
messed up.
lines, it
I
ends
see
up-
what you're saying.
This person says something that this person doesn't like, and now they're arguing about something that doesn't even relate to the post at hand. So that's why whenever someone wanted to ask me a question, I've always said that's no problem. I'll answer whatever you like. Just PM me so that we can do it more civil with one another.
Cool. Sounds good.
Any questions anybody has, feel free. I'll answer whatever you like.
Well, I think the #1 question that I got from people, saying whenever I said I was going to come here was like, are you the cat killer? Because there's a lot of people that have said that you've never denied that.
Well, I have denied it.
Okay.
And one of the questions that someone has asked me when they say, are you the cat killer? You're the cat. They don't really ask me, they just say, I think you're the cat killer.
Right.
So what I have to say on that is, and I'll ask you, and if you can just answer my question for you honestly, it will answer this question. I super promise, okay?
Okay. Well, wait a minute. Let me just ask the question,
Okay.
and then just give me your answer, and then I'll answer any questions that you have.
Perfect.
Are you the cat killer?
No.
Okay. That's great.
What dates did the cat killings first start?
It started in August of last year, I believe.
In August of last year.
You were in
I
California.
was in California.
That's right. I knew that. I knew
Where
that.
was I after California?
You were New Jersey, I
I was
believe.
in New Jersey.
Really?
So there was, I believe there was something that happened in October. I think there was an incident that happened in October.
Okay.
I was 3,000 miles away.
Yeah, I knew that because I do my homework. I try to. So no, thank you for answering that. That's really cool. Thank you.
I have no problems answering any kind of questions. No problem. Whatever you want to answer, go for it.
That's
So everybody would like to know.
why did you name it Taking Olympia Back and not Taking Back Olympia?
I don't know if there's a difference. I think it popped in my head and I wrote it down.
Okay. And what do you want to get out of this? Because it says you want to, from what I've read about that, you want to make the community stronger, correct? So, but the cat killing is like
The primary.
the primary thing. It's kind of like your springboard,
Correct.
and then you want to,
If we've already have, like right now, 400 people in our group now.
right,
401.
right.
Only been 2 weeks.
And it's only been 2 weeks. And
Right.
then like.
But you kick out a lot of people, though.
Yeah, I do.
Why is that?
The primary, one of the primary goals in this is to that environment of a great group. Don't get me wrong, and I was part of it too. And I'll say it. I'll shit talk with anybody, just so you know, because it's kind of what we've all been brought up into lately. Is environments like a uncensored environments where we can be keyboard warriors and we can say whatever we want, because face to face, I have any concerns about someone getting upset and have to deal with that in person. That anxiety of that goes away. So it was this the rapper guy that his plane had to go for emergency landing. If you read all the comments in that thread, man, it's so hate-filled. And those kinds of speeches, those kinds of mentalities, when you, even in the regular just because, when you have to, how many times have you seen where someone says, hey, look, I'm looking for help to find a mattress or this, or, you know, help with my car or whatever. And some person within it wants to dog them for having a Ford. Well, that's not the point. Stop dogging me. So people end up saying little comments, you know, when they do an original post that says, look, please, I just want no crosstalk, no whatever, you know, no stress, no drama. I just want to keep the original post here. So rather than going individual post by individual post requesting that, I'm just making one group that has that as its platform, where people just get along a lot nicer. They don't have that crosstalk. They don't have quite that openness of the uncensored groups where they just say whatever they want to say.
Okay, so I understand what you're saying and where you're wanting to go, but some have said that the criticism has been that you've been too thin-skinned and that you are taking, you know, you're taking questions that people have and stuff and maybe banning people a little bit too much instead of actually having a going back and forth and maybe even a frequently asked, you know, being a little bit more open and honest about it.
And I've been trying, I'll agree to that. I'll agree. And I've been trying to work on that as well. And I believe a common factor, you know, 50-50 needs to be made, because even when people, there has been moments where someone can say, I think you're the nicest guy in the whole wide world.
Right.
But if you say it, I think you're the nicest guy in the whole wide world. How you say it,
the tone,
even you know, people know it. You can
you can feel
write something black and white,
right,
on a screen, and you can still see the attitude that's in. You can still see the underlining sarcasm, and that is what I'm trying to also try to limit. And yes, I can have a little bit more of an openness on that. But what I'm trying to do is just nip that in the butt and just show people, look, like that kind of speech doesn't need to happen here. You know, you have places for that. Just like in the opposite way, like to say we'll do Thurston County just because regular with 6,000 people in it.
Uh-huh.
You can't just say whatever you want to say.
Okay.
There's a group for that, the uncensored.
Right.
So people know that no, that kind of speech is not going to be tolerated. You have a group for that. And I'm taking things a little bit farther than that and just saying, look, just because someone said, hey, look, I've got a Ford Escort that needs help, but, you know, does anybody know a good mechanic that can help me? Well, if you wouldn't have had a fucking Ford in the first place.
Yeah, but that's just kind of shit talking though.
Well, that's not tolerated in my group, period.
Okay.
Like, that's just, like, there's,
but okay,
everybody has their own levels of rules in their group. Just because regular has their level, uncensored has their level. And I have mine. And I'm trying to make certain that mine has a bit of a higher level, and that does create issues. It does, because people have gotten so accustomed to these other levels that we don't remember what it was like. You're not too much younger than I am, and I'm 42.
See, I'm older than you.
Really? Well,
yeah.
So you look good. You really do. Good. You probably eat a lot better than me. That's awesome.
I don't know about that.
So, I remember a day when people spoke to each other. It was, you know, and it's never going to be this way again. So don't get me wrong. Like, I know certain things are just never going to be the way that they used to. The yes sirs and the yes ma'ams, that's old school. But we used to still speak to one another with a respect. It didn't used to be that when we talked,
okay,
if you had such an opinion about something, there used to be a thing called, like, well, if you don't got nothing nice to say, just we can agree to disagree, and have it be a whole shit show.
Right, and I think I see you just said something there that I think is getting to the point of why you're receiving so much criticism from people, is that what's going on here is affecting everyone in the community. I have 2 cats. You know, I just got a new kitten and stuff. I have a dog. I know you have 2 dogs and stuff. And you know, I think everybody.
It's a big city. We're hoping to get more team to patrolling because the police department can't do all.
Let's let Scott finish his sentence.
So I think that there's like a real sense of, you know, kudos to you. You started that group. I get that. But I think whenever you did that, there was like this real sense of like the community it's a little bit theirs. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with that or not, but I'm just saying that's where I think a lot of people feel that it's like, hey, my voice is just as equal as everyone else's. And I understand when I see your side too, where you're trying to
have your voice without being sometimes so poignant about it. I want to have my voice. Well, hold on, just slow down. You can be little bit nicer about what you say. Just like I said, how it's not so much what people are saying sometimes, it's how it's coming across.
Okay.
And I'm not the only one that sees that. And when I get private messages, or sometimes even within the threads, it was seen. Hey, look, like, what's your problem? Like, slow down. And now these 2 people are going at it, and now these 2, and I'm over here going, wow, that's not what I wanted.
Right. You're like, yeah. So another thing that came up was that people were saying that you're trying to profit off the cat killings.
No.
Well, I mean, you are selling T-shirts.
Is the T-shirts,
okay.
Yes. And so what I'm doing is I have the cost that it cost me to go out there, the deal that I've made with the company themselves, which then anything that is up and above that doesn't go to me. What it does is it goes to the 400 people that are in the group, and then not the 400 people. Say it right, Jason. I'm a little anxiety too when I speak.
No, take your time. Take your time.
I'm not as well spoken as, and y'all see my typing. My typing sucks. I'll say that. Yeah, everybody. I know my typing sucks. You don't gotta tell me no more. So the extra money on top of things goes for, say, like if me and you went out one night and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and we're faded, dude, let's go to 7-Eleven real quick and get some caffeine. Let's get some snacks. Let's wake up a little bit. Well, that all costs money. To be able for me and you to say, hey, look, like I've got an idea. Why don't we bail from here? It seems pretty. There's a lot of police driving around tonight. I really don't think that this is the appropriate location for us. Let's go drive over here. Well, over here is across town. And you might live in West Ole. So now you went with me on our location that's maybe right by your house. And now we went to Hawks Prairie. And so you're thinking, okay, that's great, you know, it's no problem. It's just, you know, but gas. Nobody wants to blow a bunch of gas. So
right.
I can help the people that are trying to help the community feel better about getting out and helping, because it's not taking money out of their pockets directly out of food off your table, food out of your children's table.
So, I get what you're saying, but okay. Well, I mean, I'm not an attorney, but I think whenever you start doing stuff like that, you need to register as like a nonprofit and stuff. Are you going to?
That's why all my meetings that I've had in person with people, other than when I met with Josh Markuson, we met at a Starbucks because that was just close to his location, and he went. He's in and out. But when I try to meet with people, I try to come here because everything that I want to do, I want to make certain that I am doing legally. So when people say, well, I think you need to have, I think it's like a 501 or something it designates for nonprofit, that's great. And I probably do. I absolutely do.
Yeah, so if money's coming in.
Rather than, I think you're full of shit, you need this, you're just out for profit, fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a second. you're right on the I need this. I'm not in it for me. It's not going in my own personal pocket so that I can go see a movie because it's a matinee show and I want to buy some popcorn and all that shit. I'm not taking people's money to go on my own personal escapades. And if I sell t-shirts and make something more on it, that's why I haven't sold one. I put it out there, but then I back off it because people raise points. I go, damn, they're right. I do need to worry about that. So I'm trying to take their constructive criticism and benefit myself and the group accordingly on it. And just within the 2 weeks, amazing differences have happened as compared to the first 2 days. And that'll continue to grow. That's why I tell people it's not just so much our numbers that are growing. A week ago I had, 150 people? Maybe 200? I got 401 right now. And as our numbers grow, as does our education, and people more, two brains are better than one, people give me the same way a certain pool of people are giving me information critically. I've got just as many people giving me the same information with a whole different tone to their voice.
And
it's much easier to listen to them. If we had a conversation and I just start yelling at the top of my lungs, are you really going to listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth? Or are you really going to be set back and maybe a little bit more defensive because I'm elevating my voice and appearing to be angry?
So I don't have too much more time here, but I heard a funny story about you at one of the meetups over at Vic's Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
And you knocked on a van or in a car.
I did not knock on that van. When we went from Vic's to the Decatur Woods Park. My dogs are actually really great dogs, and we can't hear them right now because they're settled down and they're just fine. But they bark a lot, and I knew you were going to bring your dog, so I didn't bring mine because I knew Abigail would be pulling and tugging, and that would take it to distract from the meeting. So when I went to the park, rather than having my dogs and walking them with everybody down the streets and I decided to drive.
Okay.
When I pulled up to the park, there was a pretty shady looking van.
That you noticed before though, right?
No, I had never noticed that van before.
Oh, okay.
Never noticed that van before. To that point, I had never even been to the park to that point. That was my first time to that park.
Okay.
So when I pulled in, I was pulling into the park, I saw it, and I pulled in front of it. Because the parking on the rear on the street was full.
Yeah.
So that was just the last spot in the front section of the parking, and I just slid in there. And when I got out, the lady that was driving, when the hair on your arm starts to stand, when you just have a creepy feeling, a red flag, and now it was just, here we are meeting at a park about a cat killing. And people are thinking, well, this person must have a van or something. And now I'm at the actual park of a killing, and now here's this weird van with this lady that is just, she was high.
Right.
She was high. It's just, every little red flag was going. So when I got out of my truck, I had my phone on video record, and I put it down to try to nonchalantly record the license plate and then walk on my merry little way.
Right.
And then if something was to ever happen in that park, and then someone would say, oh, I saw this weird creepy van and this happened and this happened, at least I would have a license plate to refer off to.
Okay.
Well, what happened from that is the lady was high and she jumped out of the van. Did you really just do that? Did you really just do that? Do what? I didn't want an argument, a fight in the middle of the daytime with kids out in a park, and I wasn't fixing on having an issue. So I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know. I just, no. Well, when she went to get out of her van to have this conversation with me, her van was still in drive with the wheel turned a little bit. She just narrowly missed my truck and drove across both lanes of traffic jumped the curb into the grass and came about 4 feet from hitting a wooden wall as part of the carport. That is.
Yeah, I heard it was a pretty dramatic thing.
So what I did is I ended the video. She took off down the gravel driveway there, the alleyway, and I just called police.
Yeah.
I
heard it was a pretty
run after anybody. I'm physically fit. I could run faster than most 42-year-olds can run.
Right.
But I'm not gonna run after somebody and tackle them. I don't carry any weapons on me. I'm not gonna hit somebody with a baseball bat, and I don't have some boomerang Batman thing where I can throw and knock somebody in the head. I'm not about that, and that is why when we were supposed to meet here today, I invited Olympia PD to come, in which one of the lieutenants was scheduled to come, and at the last minute he had to back out.
Okay.
But I invited him not to keep peace between this. I invited him to be able to speak to us so that we knew more about what the do's and don'ts are about what the police don't want, which is walking on private property. So even just taking a step from the curb
right
into your front yard, trespassing.
Right.
And I'm not about that. So I carry a mag light. I can see across somewhere with a mag light, and I don't flash it in people's windows. Has anybody said, oh, I saw Jason last night with his 2 dogs? He's flashing his big old bright, it's a metallic blue, so if everyone wants to know, it's a metallic blue mag light about that long. I could shine trees from across a football field with it.
Right.
But have you ever heard anybody say, oh, I saw Jason last night, he was flashing his big dumb flashlight through my front windows?
So Jason, thank you for answering these questions and for being so forthcoming and setting.
Everybody I would. I have no problem.
No, this is great. I really do appreciate it. One question I would like to ask you is, if you could do this over again, what would you change a little bit differently so you wouldn't have
how I requested people to watch how they speak on the group. I could have maybe been a little bit less stern about, this is the way it's going to happen, my way or the highway, get the fuck out of here. I could have been a lot better on that, and that's what I said when we first started.
Right.
Is I've been trying to take that step back so that if we go to have a conversation, we have our conversation as we're having it right now. This is pleasant. If we would have had this demeanor, then none of this would even happen. I'm guilty of it, other people are guilty of it, then you get 2 people that are both guilty of it working, that's just gonna create an explosion.
You're a very intriguing person.
It's just me.
And
intriguing.
The thing that I think, getting to know you from your postings online and stuff, is it seems like I know that you've had a difficult time recently, that things aren't going as smoothly as maybe, and that's not just for Jason. I know that's true, and I know that there are a lot of people in situations right now looking for a job or a better job, a good place to live, someplace that's safe and everything.
Everybody has their own reasons that put them in their own situations. Mine, I just moved back, and then I moved back with a landscaping company in the middle of the wintertime. That's like dumb with dumb. There's no money to
that's the thing that I see. People have asked me, do you think Jason Cox is a killer? And I was like, no. And I said it whenever I started this video tonight as I was walking up. No, I don't. And it's the same thing, the question that you asked me about where you were in October and all this stuff. But the thing that I think, Jason, is that you are a guy that tends to put the cart before the horse sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
You know,
and I think
I'm
that's
very much
where
a
it's.
person that goes, oh, a squirrel, or oh, a penny. I didn't look at the Chevrolet that just ran me down because I went and jumped after a brand new penny.
And that's, you know, it's not a knock on you and stuff to say that, and it's just, I think it's just, that's just kind of in a way to put it where
So
the mistakes have been made.
I will answer that with this. The honest truth is, when I was growing up with the last name Cox, in a little town called Montesano, where everybody is the product of families and loggers and football players and wrestlers, and I'm the product of a single mom with the last name Cox, and I'm a baseball player. I can't wrestle worth a shit, and I'm definitely not a football player. That just was get picked on, get picked on, get picked on, get picked on, bullied, 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 to the point you just shut down. So then I spent my middle school and high school as the wallflower. Well, the wallflower also gets picked on. Not only does the wallflower get picked on by the jocks, the wallflower also gets picked on by the chess club. The wallflower is pretty much not the friend of anybody. So when it came time for my adult life to say, look, I need to make a change, I used to wear glasses. I went in one day all like, oh, look, a penny, cart before the horse. I went and got LASIK. Bam, like that. That was one of the better impulse decisions. I've been glasses free for, I don't know, 15 or so years. And man, I don't miss glasses at all. But I changed myself to try to have a life, to be able to not be that wallflower, to not be the person that never gets out of the house and does anything with his life. So I made it a point to, if I've got no strings on me and I've got a truck and a trailer full of equipment and landscaping stuff, and I've left a business before when it was doing good, when it was established for 2-3 years, just because I was bored of the area, not for any drama or red flags that was happening, but maybe because I just had a friend that said, hey, look, why don't you come over here? Well, why don't you, a cousin of mine says, hey, you know, you went through a breakup a little while ago, your business is doing all right, you know, whatever I was doing at that point, and I didn't have a bad life, but why don't you come to North Carolina? You stay at my house. I'll teach you how to cut down trees and do tree work, and I, fuck it, all right, and I went.
So I want to say thank you for taking time out to talk to us today. I want to ask anybody online that's watching right now if you have any other questions, because I think Jason is willing to answer them. And if you have any, just go ahead and put those in chat right now. And I just want to say, Jason, thank you. And in the next question, I guess I have the last one here that I have for myself. Do you have any leads? Do you have a suspect, a prime suspect, someone that you've been hearing through the grapevine, anyone that has come up?
I have had one person of interest that I have forwarded off to the lead detective on the case, Josh Marcuson. And I was thanked for that and responded with, do you have an address? And which I did, and in the following communication with him, I gave him the address of that individual as well. What happened from that, I don't know. That's police work.
How did you come up with this? How did you get to that point where this person piqued your interest?
The day that I found the glove and the mask and the sticks and the wood made into whether it was like a Star of David or any kind of a cultish manner. When I found things that I had thought just didn't look right to me, as I was on what street is it? The one that leads from the corner of Decatur. There's a white church right there that leads out of the neighborhood up to where the Capitol Mall is. I was knelt down going to pick up the blue latex glove And as I was, I'll tell you, that's fun. As I was knelt down like this, looking at the glove, an individual walked behind me, and you know, you do the cordial things like, oh, excuse me, hey brother, how you doing, or hey, what's up, and just walking behind me, looking down, his left calf was all scratched up, like
It was shorts?
yes, not just like you would scratch yourself because you have an itch, but because whether it was cat claws or like blackberry scratches, and just very noticeable. And this is when we all had when you go out and you look through the neighborhoods and you're just walking around, if you're even at the grocery store, just look for people that have scratches on their arms. That was a common topic being spoken about. So when I see so I saw that, and he's in shorts, and then I thought about my positioning. If you're wearing any kind of a hoodie or anything to try to protect your arms, but it's hot in summertime, what's to say that this cat that scratched somebody, it's not their arms that got scratched, it's his leg. So thinking about that, I passed that information off to the detective, and as that person was walking away, I did the same thing as that white van. Got my phone out really quick, tried to get a little video as he walked away really quick.
Can you give a description?
I would say he would be in his late 20s. I don't think maybe early 30, maybe.
Was dark, huh?
No, it was broad daylight.
Oh, I see.
Did he have a beard? Did you notice color of hair? Was it a white guy? Or?
White guy, maybe like, I tell you what, I don't remember actually like physical characteristics right now.
Right.
But when we're done with this, I'll show you the picture.
Okay.
Deal?
No, that's cool.
I'll show you the actual individual.
That's cool. So, Jason.
The only reason I didn't post that picture with all of my evidence that I found that day is because I didn't want to call anybody out that could possibly be innocent. That's not for me to do, that's for the Olympia Police Department. So I left that picture out of everything for his own personal security as well. It may have been fraudulent to post an individual on Facebook, this is the killer, when it's not.
Right, right.
So that's not for me to decide, that's up to Olympia Police Department.
Well, Jason, I want to say thank you again, taking the time out. And I would honestly say you're different than what I had thought, possibly. This ago, I was thinking maybe it would be a little bit of ostentatious, a little bit, a little
They know.
tension or anything going on.
I was looking for you to show up.
Oh yeah? No. I use my real name, man. I use my real name. I'm not gonna screw it. And anything I said to you online and everything, I'm gonna put this on here. It was seriously, I was just trolling you. I was just trolling you, buddy. I was just trolling you. I was just giving you a hard time. I do wish you the best of luck, Jason.
Hey.
And
My left ear.
you can't take that too seriously, man. You can't. Look, you can't.
I'm joking.
Take it.
I thought it was funny.
And I do wish you the best of luck. And let's get this guy off the streets. And I want you to be safe out there.
If you would like to come over onto the group and be a productive, positive mannered member.
I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm too much of an ass.
But I gotta lay out the invitation.
No, you're cool. Thank you, man. Take care. All right, guys. All right, we're doing this way. So it kind of went the way I thought it would, a little bit different. I don't think that, he's not, look, he's a guy that is, like I said, that he's going through a tough time. And there's lots of people that are going through tough times. And I think that there might be a little bit of, this is all very exciting and new, and he might not have the skill set to properly navigate what he's doing and what he's trying to do. And that is different than, let's face it, Jason Cox has been kind of the boogeyman in Olympia for a while. And that's, I think tonight, we could see, yeah, he may be not somebody that you would hang out with. Maybe he's not that type of guy. Maybe, nothing about it and stuff. You know what, I could have a beer with him and talk to him and give him some advice on some stuff. But he's got some stuff that he's got to work on his own, and I do wish him the best of luck in that. And I do hope that he does, he's living out of his truck. He's been quite clear about that. And that's tough. He's looking for work. I know of a place right now that would probably hire him, and he would be working a lot of hours, probably a lot of overtime. And but I don't know. One thing though is I do know that this whole cat killer thing, it has affected a lot of people in this town. It has a lot of fake accounts going on, myself included. A lot of rubbernecking a train wreck of Jason Cox, which I have freely admitted it is. And but the thing is, you got to give him credit. He did say that possibly, he did say he recognized the mistake that he made and what he was, how strict he was, his rules and stuff. I thought he explained it pretty well. I don't know. You guys are gonna make your own judgment call on this. But his group is probably not for most people, because Olympians, we do talk a lot of shit. We're very opinionated, and I think that I was correct whenever I said that it feels like this cat killer has touched a lot of us, just in the thought of like, who could do this to a cat? And it's also a lot of, oh my gosh, we have a really troubled individual that lives around us. And it's also a lot of, we need to get this taken care of and stopped. So, and I was trying to explain that to Jason, that maybe there are a lot of people in town that just because you're running a Facebook page doesn't necessarily mean that it should be just your Facebook page. Well, it's, he started it. Kudos to him. He got it. Out of that 400 people, 401 subscribers, I think a lot of them are fake. And I think a lot of people were just kind of just watching the show, see what goes on. You know what? That was pretty interesting. His little lead about scratches. I found that interesting. Age range. I have one primary suspect myself, but that's just circumstantial. One of my friends said, you know what this cat killer has done? It has, it's really showing like how many weirdos we have living in this town, which is pretty true. People that live unique and different lives out of the norm. People that are dealing with a lot of different things. So, and yeah, I think we can include, you know, not just only myself, but Jason Cox in that group as well, as somebody that's got a unique life and dealing with different things. And a little bit of people like myself. I shit talked him. I'll be totally trolled him a little bit. And the thing that made it so appealing was that it does get a rise out of him. Oh my God, he just goes nuts over it. And you know what? He admitted that. He said it. And then he also kind of gave a backstory there too, about being the guy that, you know, with the last name Cox. So, that would suck. Anyway, I'm done. I gotta go get something to eat. It's my very first YouTube video, very first going live. Wanted to do this for years. I know I'll probably look back on this someday, hopefully I will. I notice how cringy it is and terrible. But, thank you. So, I'm going to say that obligatory YouTube thing, which is smash that subscribe button, hit that bell, share with your friends, comment down below, tell me what you think. Tell me what you thought about it. And I'll see you next time. Oh, one thing. I would like to have a regular live stream a few times a week where we can get together and talk about the cat killer. And probably Jason Cox as well. So, talk to you guys later. And you guys have a great night. And I hope that you enjoyed this. And share it with your friends. Share it in the group. Uncensored.